what is Crescendo Trust?
Essentially, it's a mentoring program. So we use music as a vehicle to connect and re-engage our young people back into employment, education and training. We've got guys like, myself. I've had a reasonable amount of success through Blindspott and Blacklistt. David Artai, Nesian Mystic. We're just talking to Tyrees from Smash Proof now, and we've got mentors that have success, so they've got like an instant hook with our young people. And while that is our hook and that's what we use to engage the young people, it's more about journeying alongside them. So not really so much about the music as it is ensuring their safety, ensuring their happiness and their well-being, and just making sure that they know that they're loved. That's really important to me. We work with all sorts of young people from various walks of life, from successful students to the other extreme where it's like guys coming from the Youth Justice and Custody program, and they're doing the same kind of work with us, but they don't have the same opportunity. So we try and level out the playing field for everyone and just make sure that everyone's just kind of taken care of. It's more of a community kind of vibe that I'm trying to build.
Cool. And I guess with the artists that you work with too, I mean, it's all good that they've got a good name and everything else, but the most important thing is that they do understand what you're doing with the project, or what the whole project's about. And they've obviously would have had some experience just in, well, they probably come from a way of thinking they understand what the students are going through as well.
I mean, everyone comes in at different levels. So I've got guys that come in and just shred, and really show me up. And then there's guys that come in with no musical knowledge whatsoever. Like one guy in particular that stands out for me is, I won't mention his name, but he's quite a hardened 18-year-old, gang related, and just kind of born into that situation at no fault of his own. And he can freestyle for a good 4 minutes, just rapping about any topic you give him, and he's incredible. I ask him, can you write those lyrics down? They were really good. And then he starts fighting with the paper and smashing it up. So, that's kind of where we step in and go, okay, well, maybe this guy's a bit dyslexic, and how can we help you here? And instead of writing it, let's try typing it together. And then, you've got the computer that has spell check on there, and it's not so...
Awesome.
Doesn't... I don't know, kind of... I feel like when we get kids like that, that makes them feel a bit less important, and I don't know.
If they can't do certain things, or they think they should be able to do it?
Well, they feel like they're dumb, And clearly you're not. It's just a little bit of rewiring that needs to go on in the brain. I mean... so our mentors, we go through all the right sort of training to recognise these things. Drug and alcohol, the New Zealand Mentoring Network, we kind of got things in place. So when our young people say something, I wish I could do this, or if only I could be here, those are real key words that we need to listen out for and go, whoa, you can go there, so this is your end goal, and let's make a plan working backwards, and how do you get there, and just provide options and pathways for them.
Very cool. And how did it originally get started? What was the spark that kind of got it going?
Well, I've been teaching songwriting and music for years, since I was about 22, I think. So I'm 35 now. And then the New Zealand Music Commission got me to do the mentoring in schools program, which I was really attracted to, and I liked it a lot. But I took it a step further, whereas I brought in all my gear and then started showing the guys in the schools how to do it for themselves. And one girl in particular who just wouldn't talk to anyone, and she was kind of excluded from groups, ended up having a really awesome voice. And so I kind of just went in by myself in my own time and recorded her own track and just showed her how to use Cool Edit, I think it was at the time. And she ended up recording her own like song, and then I shared it with the teacher in the class, and it just her perception of herself, the self-worth changed dramatically.
Yeah.
She started getting pats on the back from her fellow students, and then her confidence was built. And it was just like the amount of empowerment it gave her. I found that really attractive.
Yeah.
So I didn't get charitable status until 2012, I think. But I've been building up towards the Crescendo Trust for years. So yeah.
And do you find that little things in your past, just music related or even otherwise, you don't think they seem insignificant at the time, but now that you're doing the trust, there's certain things that link up?
Yeah, definitely. I'm still going through my own personal journey. I have regular counselling sessions myself, supervision, psychotherapy, because there's a lot of things in my past where I reacted quite emotionally to situations. So I can look back now and reflect. I reflect on things a lot and move from a different space. And I can clearly see, when I was 20, the behaviour patterns that I did then and then right up until now. And I can recognise when, my stomach's starting to tighten up. Why is that going on? Why am I feeling my self-worth being diminished here?
Yeah.
So I've got things in place where I can openly talk about that now, and don't self-abuse and don't self-destruct. And I can see that in all our young people as well. So I know everyone kind of goes through similar journeys, but how we deal with it is where we, get ownership of your own life, So
yeah,
can definitely see my journey and how it led to this place. So.
It's one of the first steps in sorting your own shit out is taking responsibility, eh?
Yeah, definitely. And it's okay to not know the answers to everything, and it's okay to not be able to do certain things. I love failing at stuff now. It's not a bad thing. It's a good opportunity to learn and grow.
Yeah.
So.
And with the kids, you find it's best not to just come at them from a lecturing point of view. Like you kind of just go, well, here's an option, and you guide them.
Yeah, definitely.
You have to kind of mix it up, I guess, with a bit of, this is how it is, and being straight up with them. But yeah.
I've got quite a good. I'm on a friendship level with all of them, but I don't know, when I do need to pull rein a bit, they do respect me for that.
Yeah.
And they do listen, but yeah, I don't know. I've gained their trust, as have all our other mentors. I like to be on the same level as them, and we are really. Anyway, we grew up in the same kind of cul-de-sacs, beating each other up, playing bull rush, and so it's easily relatable.
Yeah. And so, what was that first thing from going from the commission mentoring?
Yeah.
And that what made it official with the trust?
I didn't really decide I'm going to start the Crescendo Trust of Aotearoa. I kind of decided I want to be doing this kind of work. So I wanted to upskill myself first. I went over to London and had the opportunity to work with some of the guys from the band Sixth, which led to working with producers like Spike Stent. So I did a lot of running around and making coffees, really. Yeah. But I wanted to learn production from that level first. And then when I came back from London, I went into MAINZ and I studied audio engineering. I just wanted to update those skills and then do the mentoring courses and stuff. But when I conceived the idea, I couldn't tell you when. I just know it's kind of... I always seem to be drawn back into teaching and mentoring.
Yeah.
So no point fighting it, man. I love it.
Yeah. And you're as far as labels go, labels are kind of useful to put things in boxes or to look people up, but I know there's a lot more to it. But it says program facilitator.
Yeah.
And one of the points of the Music Talk series is to kind of show, people that there's different things in the industry, and there's probably a lot more than most of us are aware of. So how would you describe a program facilitator? What's that role?
Well, to facilitate a program is kind of, that's just the term that we use, because a program kind of indicates a starting point and end point, which I don't really like. I prefer to have an ongoing relationship. Like, I've been working with a young girl, Kaya, for about 3-4 years now, and she calls me bro. We hang out and we talk. We go get lunch, but she's gone to Excel Performing School of Arts, and when I first met her, she had quite a rough deal at the time. I won't go too deep into it, but when I met her, she was like barefoot, broke, and didn't know where to go. So facilitating a program for her was more just being a good person to her and someone that she can fall back onto. Yeah. But with the journey that we have with our young people, say if the end point or the end goal for them is to get their song up on iTunes, then we make sure we do everything that we can to get them up to that point. But on the way, some young individuals will like, maybe the music's not so good, but the way that they advertise themselves on social media is incredible. So it's up to us to recognise, okay, well, maybe let's aim this person towards advertising and marketing. There's a definite career option there for you. Not everyone's going to be successful with music, but guys start picking up a microphone, taking it apart, and I can see that they're more interested in the electrical side of things. So either audio engineering, becoming an electrician.
Yes. Yeah. And there's also, as well as that role of facilitator, there's also a board that you work with. So what's a board in this case?
We're working towards more of a governing board. I'll tell you about who I got in the board at the moment. Our chairman currently is Bridget Smith. So she's co-owner of Lasso Media and PR. So she brings a huge skill set to the board in terms of media and PR, getting the right kind of promo that puts us in front of the right people. She's got a good... she knows how to use words in a way that captures the ears of the funders. Yeah. So the guys at like ASB Community Trust, Lotteries Foundation, the Vodafone Foundation, I'll throw all my bits, what I do onto paper, which is probably just pouring my heart onto it, which might not be understandable to most. So she'll go through it and just tweak it and make it look presentable, and so that's real handy having her on board. Patrina George from APRA.
So Patrina was on the board. She's really nice, eh?
Yeah. So she's got her wealth of knowledge and all her contacts and networks, and just anything that I have music related, she's a good soundboard for me, and I can really rely on honest and correct information. Yeah. So are we doing this legally? How do we? What does publishing mean? And then we can tell that back to our young people. Dwan Powell, he's one of the financial accountants for Fonterra. So he gets to monitor all the income and expenditure and make sure that's done correctly.
Yeah, good to have someone doing that stuff, man.
Yeah. Better off having someone that can do it than myself. Ben Stevens, who's an auditor for PricewaterhouseCoopers. So I've kind of got the right people in place to... because I can't do those specific jobs, and I need help in those areas. So I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at. And so the board kind of govern what happens with the work. So when we have a board meeting, they would have read over my director's report and just seen what areas need to be improved on, what they can help with, and how we can just all move forward.
Yeah, and it's cool to know too, for like, because I remember, I mean, man, I'm from a cul-de-sac playing forceback and beating each other up as well. So when I, back in the day, you hear a word like bored, it's just, man, it's like a foreign word, and you don't want to get into any of that crap when you're starting a jam. You just want to play sound, play music.
Yeah.
But it's cool to know, I think, valuable to know for kids getting into music, that if you hear a word like bored, trust, yada yada, it's not scary. And you can go to these people and just say, hey, I don't really know what's going on with this, but can you help?
Yeah, absolutely. And my board's quite... there's a lot of interaction with the board as well, so they'll come to events and they'll, they familiarise themselves with our young people as well. Well, they believe in it,
Yeah.
They've got the heart for it.
Yeah.
I mean, having the right heart for the job is probably the most important thing, man. When you move from a heart space, it changes the whole dynamic of any kind of business or corporation, I feel. I think we need a bit more of it, to be honest.
I was going to say, that could be, there's an argument for the whole industry there, but we won't go into that. Tell us about some of the artists that you're working with.
Well, it varies. Some of our mentors work with 30 young people, and then some have 120. It depends if they're working in classroom situations or one-on-one. But I don't know, there's a lot of standout guys at the moment. Annabek released their song on C4, and they did really well. They got in the top 20, I think, in one of the X Factors. I think it was X Factor. Kaya, she just released a song called Fire the other day, and she performed on the Good Morning Show. She's doing really well. Manashi, he's been doing tours all around the country and playing with Sid Diamond and stuff. I mean,
cool, yeah. And so you get a few MCs as well. It's not just bands and
no, not just bands.
Because I've noticed that I find it a lot in either if you're an MC or you're starting out in something like death metal or or heavier music. It's always, and I used to do the same shit. It's there's no one's into my music, and where are you going to go? And it's all pop bands and blah blah blah. But there is outlets for if you're a solo artist like an MC, or if you're into more extreme music. Yeah, there are places to go, aren't there?
Yeah, absolutely. The more that I do this work and connect with other organisations, because we collaborate with quite a lot. There's like the Lyricist Lounge in Henderson that any MC or R&B singer, or they can just get up and perform in front of a relaxed crowd that are just sitting around on the couch and supporting each other. It's a good place to do that. And then they have open mic nights in Otara with D2I. I mean, they can do the same there. But then there's like the rock and metal guys that we look after. Death by Butterflies is a good example. They made it through to the top 20, I think, in the Smoke Free Rock Quest recently. But the guys in that band, it's only a two-piece, but they're kind of grabbing, because they go to Rutherford High, they're getting other like-minded bands from other schools. Yeah. And there's that UFO shop in New Lynn that presses all the vinyl, and it's a live venue, but they're getting rock bands there. I think it's just like asking the universe, where is all this shit happening, and how can we provide our young people to play at it? And soon enough, you'll find the answers and find where to go.
Yeah. So any musicians really, any genre.
Yeah. What I tell our young people is, if you like the music, guaranteed there's going to be other people out there that likes it as well.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I say to my students is, you're into underground music? Yeah. And they'll say a band, and I was like, just chuck up the YouTube video, man. And so we'll have a look, and it's like 1 million views, It's like, well, how underground's that?
Yeah, exactly.
Stop crying. There's quite a few people that are into it. So you one of the things you said before is that you empower the musicians. Do you find that there's heaps of talent out there, but perhaps it's just the confidence doesn't match that?
Some,
or it might be the other way around.
yeah. Some are like totally confident and have really good music and are very talented, but kind of stuck. Like, you know, what do I do next? So guys like myself and David, you know, we've had, how long has Blindspott been going for? Bloody years now, 20 maybe. Far out, getting close to 20. But you know, we have all the resources and tools and networks, and we know where to go next. And it's just a matter of just going, well, are you signed to APRA? Have you signed to the recorded music? You know, PPNZ and that. Well, have you gone on to? Have you just searched the internet and found out are there other people out there? You know,
simple things sometimes.
Sometimes it's quite simple. Sometimes they just don't. They just don't know what's available to them yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's easy to show them. It's easy enough to give them some help.
Yeah. Well, that's wicked. And we were talking before too about, and you don't have to go deep into this, but you've had your own. I mean, you know, people see something like, say, Blindspott, whatever, and they just see the results. You know, they don't see all the hard work that goes in the behind that. So I'm guessing that your ride hasn't just been smooth.
Nah. My personal demons popped up heaps of times through that journey. Drug and alcohol was a huge one. I battled with that quite a bit. Which obviously, you know, you got a band and it's a family, and we've all got different ideas of what should be done. And when someone falls off, like we all did at various times, but it's never easy, man. But the amount of work that we did do, because we were very passionate, was pretty phenomenal. Jamming like, I don't know, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, before we actually, you know, got to a place where we didn't have to do that anymore. But when we were starting out, you know, we were doing that, playing every single gig we could, carrying our amps, like, you know, we didn't have cars. I remember playing in Armour Bay on the beach, and I had to carry my Marshall cabinet off the beach because the riot squads came down, and yeah, it's a mission. But I don't know, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I was thinking too, because you said, you know, you had your emotional things. What was the story there? Where you react straight away to things?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was very emotionally charged.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to express myself clearly or have the confidence to say what I felt. You know, I was adopted at a very early age, and I'm finding out now that a lot of it still sits in my subconscious, you know. Why am I not good enough? Why does nobody want me? You know, because, you know, my mum adopted me out for whatever reason. I got told that she was a heroin user at the time, so she adopted me out because she just honestly couldn't take care of me, which is, I think, is an honourable thing. It must have been really hard for her. But, you know, on the other side, I get told that from an early age, you know, you're not actually my biological son. We still love you, but your mum gave you up, you know, so that sits in a little kid's head. And so throughout my career, it's always been I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And I've seen it through many relationships when I've broken up with that person. You know, I'll take it out on myself, and the only way I would know how to would be either to cut myself, stab myself, that kind of thing. I've got things in place now, so I know those triggers. And it doesn't happen anymore, but the feelings are still there, you know?
Yeah.
And it's about dealing with that, and I see it a lot in our young people. So I guess that's how I relate. So, yeah.
No, that's good, mate, because there's a lot more than we see.
Yeah.
So I was thinking back to kind of the music stuff, I guess, with the industry and that. What are some good things about the industry? I mean, some people will look at. I've had my fair bitch about different things, man. And to be totally honest, I'll still remain quite honest about things I don't agree with, but I've also made a conscious effort in the last few years to really focus on the positive, because it's too easy just to point fingers and bitch and moan.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the good things? And because especially as a young person, it's easy to go, well, New Zealand on air don't fund me, or this or that, you know.
Yeah.
What are the good things in place, or that are just around in the industry that you see?
It's a different time now, man. It's a really different time. When we started, I think things were much easier. There was the musicianship wage at the time, you know. If you're a musician, it was like a kind of a benefit for musicians.
Is that PACE?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
PACE scheme. So we had the ability to play music and do it full time, and have that to fall back on. So that was quite a lucky thing that we had at the time. And I remember that time there was a lot of good music around.
Yeah.
And very easily accessible. I know this day and age, you know, with all downloading and stuff, it's kind of changed the whole face of music. Guys are trying to... I like it. I prefer it now. It's more of a hustle. It's not... You know, there's the industry, which is kind of select. I mean, who you know is a very... it's good to have people that you know in the industry. I mean, it definitely helps. It goes without say. But the guys that, you know, don't have access to people or those networks, or don't get any NZ on air funding, but they want it and they're hungry for it. It's awesome. It's an awesome time. We get to be creative with new ways of, like, how do I turn this into an income? So I've seen, you know, like making a t-shirt costs you about $7 to make, but you can sell it for $30. You know, so I've seen guys that are going, hey man, come buy this t-shirt, get a free 3-track EP. You know?
Yeah.
You're not... I don't know why music hasn't kept up with everything. Like, you know, you pay $5 to go see 5 bands. I mean, how the hell are they supposed to live off that?
And then that's split between the members.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I know in the States, you go to a gig, you pay your $5 to watch the band. When that band's finished, they clear out the whole bar. The next band comes on, you have to pay another $5 to watch the next band, you know? It works like that.
Yeah.
You go to the movies, you buy one ticket, you know, you don't stick around and watch the other movies. You know? You know, I don't know why music hasn't kept up with that. It pisses me off, man. But, yeah, there needs to be some sort of change in the music industry, I feel. I mean, Spotify with their 0.007 royalty rate. Whoa.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, man. You know? Yeah. I don't know. I think I went off on a tangent.
Yeah, well, I was just in a daydream then too, eh? I mean, some of it might start with the artist and not not just devaluing their music.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not going to change the world, but maybe it brings the artist. I know with a lot of things, if you say like a service, like a music tuition service, if you make your lessons too cheap, automatically people probably won't come to you, or think, you know, some people will, you know, oh, free lesson, sweet as, but if it's a cheap lesson also, you'd be surprised that by raising your price, you don't actually lose people coming to you.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of people that value it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because they're paying their money for it. So money's kind of like a measure of value.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the minute that you just devalue it yourself, you're kind of killing your own business.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we could go on all day about how to get around that, eh? And so that's kind of, you know, one of the cool things is using technology. And that's you might agree, it's the focus on it. So you could look at something like YouTube and go, oh, it's shit, everything's up for free, blah, blah, blah. Or you could look at it and go, wow, I can learn this stuff, and there's different, you know, tutorial videos, and there's different ways. And so it's kind of how you focus on it. And the same thing with the industry. I mean, you know, let's be totally straight up here. If you can't just raise questions about what should be changed in the industry, what kind of industry are we in?
Yeah.
You know, so what do you think in New Zealand specifically needs to be changed, or we could talk about,
Man, that's a tough question, eh? I think a lot of things could be changed. I think it just needs a whole new set of eyes and ears. I think a whole new breed needs to come up and just challenge the way it's all done. Because it's been kind of the same people in the same positions for a long time, and it's just kind of narrowed everything down. I mean, all you hear is pop music on the radio. All the radio is playing the same kind of stuff. Edge TV. I mean, yeah. I don't know, bro. But I'll be keen to have this conversation in depth, man, with a few people.
Yeah.
You know? I'd love to see a massive change. I don't know, just musicians I don't feel are respected as artists, you know. So it's a struggle for a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of bands, good bands, come and go because they just couldn't afford to, you know, sustain what they do. I don't know if I answered your question there, mate, but yeah.
I think so.
Sweet.
And so just to round it up, man, it's been really good chatting with you. It's been awesome. But what I suppose, to sum it up really, from you especially for young guys out there, young guys and girls, what would be the one bit of advice, just in say one sentence, that you would give them?
Shit. Okay, if there's ever a moment in if music is what you want, and it's not getting to the place where you want it to get to, trust your heart to know the right answers for where to go, and really use intuition. There's that saying where you trust your gut. I mean, that's totally true. If something doesn't feel right, then don't go in that direction, man.
Yep.
If music's what you want, then go out there and get it. If you're having any kind of blocks, ask what is blocking you, and then ask people for help. Ask around, like, this is more than one sentence.
That's alright.
Any kind of block that you're faced with in your musical career, just find, it's only an obstacle, man. You know, climb over it. Life's too short to not be doing what you want to do. So, yeah.
Very cool, Marcus. Amen, man.
Sweet.